Hello students, my name is Anup Kumar Dutta. Today in my YouTube tutorial video of the new series of educational videos on NCERT Mathematics, which is completely free to you, I have just taken the question number 11 from the exercise 10.2 of your book under the chapter circles under NCERT Mathematics. Now let us see what the question says. Prove that the parallelogram circumscribing a circle is a rhombus. Here circumscribing a circle means all the four sides of the parallelogram touch the circle externally. So to do this sum, we must have these pre-knowledges first. Number 1, the opposite sides of a parallelogram are equal to each other. Number 2, all the four sides of a rhombus are equal to each other. Number 3, the measures of the two tangents drawn from an external point to a circle are equal to each other at the points of contact. So to do this sum, let us proceed in this way. Let us draw the diagram first. So write in this way. To proceed, write in this way. Let the parallelogram ABCD let the parallelogram ABCD circumscribes the circle with the center O at the points P, Q, R, S respectively. P, Q, R, and S respectively. After this, write in this way. We have to prove that ABCD is a parallelogram. That is, measure of the side AB is equal to measure of the side BC is equal to measure of the side CD is equal to measure of the side DA measure of the side DA. So to prove, let us proceed in this way. Write in this way. Since ABCD is a parallelogram Since ABCD is a parallelogram, therefore measure of AB is equal to measure of CD. Measure of CD. Measure of BC is equal to measure of DA. Measure of DA. Let us name this relation as 1. Let us name this relation as 2. Write within bracket opposite sides. After this, proceed in this way. Now measure of AP is equal to measure of AS. This one AS. Measure of AS. Let us name this relation as 3. Write within bracket A external point AB AD tangents PS points of contacts. After this, write in this way. Similarly, measure of BP is equal to measure of BQ. Let us name this relation as 4. Write within bracket B external point. After this, write in this way. Measure of CR is equal to measure of CQ. Measure of CR is equal to measure of CQ. CQ. Let us name this relation as 5. Write within bracket C external point. After this, write measure of DR. Measure of DR is equal to measure of DS. Let us name this relation as 6. Write within bracket D external point. After this, write in this way. Now 3 plus 4 3 plus 4 plus 5 plus 6 implies measure of AP plus measure of BP plus measure of CR plus measure of DR is equal to measure of AS plus measure of BQ plus measure of CQ plus measure of DS that again implies measure of AP plus measure of BP plus measure of BP. We have just combined these two terms just to get the measure of AB plus measure of CR this one plus measure of DR we have just combined these two terms just to get the measure of CD is equal to measure of AS this term plus this term measure of DS we have considered we have combined these two terms plus measure of BQ this one plus measure of CQ we have combined these two terms just to get the measure of BC. We have combined these two terms measure of AS plus measure of DS just to get the measure of DA. So this again implies in place of measure of AP plus measure of BP we will now write measure of AB plus in place of measure of CR plus measure of DR we will write now measure of CD is equal to in place of measure of AS plus measure of DS we will write now measure of DA plus in place of measure of BQ plus measure of CQ we will write now measure of BC this again implies measure of AB plus we know that measure of AB is equal to measure of CD since ABCD is a parallelogram. So in place of measure of CD we will now write measure of AB is equal to measure of DA since measure of BC is equal to measure of DA, therefore we will write in place of measure of DA measure of BC plus measure of BC. This again implies twice the measure of AB is equal to twice the measure of BC. Therefore, measure of AB is equal to measure of BC, dividing both sides by 2, measure of BC. After this, write in this way, therefore 1 and 2, therefore 1 and 2, therefore 1 and 2 implies, therefore 1 and 2 implies if measure of AB is equal to measure of BC, then measure of CD must be equal to measure of DA. So we are writing in this way, therefore 1 and 2 implies measure of CD is equal to measure of DA, that is measure of AB is equal to measure of BC is equal to measure of CD is equal to measure of DA. Therefore the parallelogram ABCD is a rhombus. Proved. Right, in this way it will spare a little bit time to you. So this is all for today. Why not? Of course I will expect your kind likes, dislikes, comments, subscriptions, and clicking on the bell icon. Thank you.